All right, now on to our second big idea. So now you see we're here in body paragraph 4, and we bring up the second topic. It says a well thought out project-based learning also has the potential to encourage students to address and possibly even solve issues that are personally important to them. Well, that's one of the great things about project-based learning when it's done in this kind of way that also, we go back to the earlier part here, that helps to democratize education, get that democratization, right? So we're extending this idea where we leave off in the previous paragraph, and we're making this transition from our first big idea and the supporting information down to the second big idea. So we come down here, this is just some personal observations I have, that we need to give students credit for actually caring about these things. We often say that students don't, but how often do we really give them a chance to do it? When we give them the chance to do it, it might even take a little while to get them into the idea that they can actually do something, but then they actually can't. And students usually get into it. So here we have this. Unfortunately, much of the standardized curriculum does not really give students that opportunity. It just tells students, hey, the world's a complicated place, and just follow what I tell you to do. Instead, the world is complicated and it's difficult, but we can give students the opportunity to jump in there and do this stuff. So these are some of the ideas I'm going to be working with. And this idea that, here we go down here and it says, make no mistake, even 10-year-olds know the difference. So we should let them figure out how to help when help is needed. And we forget, kids know stuff, just like big kids, little kids, and even adults know stuff. Well, we need to give people the opportunities. So then we come down here to the introduction to the specific element. This is that supporting claim that we're going to make. So it is important for children to see the clear connection between what they study and the world immediately around them. It's a complaint I hear from students all the time. They ask, why is this relevant? What connection does this have to the real world? When am I ever going to use this? Well, project-based learning offers that opportunity. So here I come in and I start writing out a few things about project-based learning. That it is a wonderful companion to the natural curiosity of children and young adults because it encourages them to ask meaningful questions. When the children see this injustice in their community, project-based learning, PBL is the abbreviation, offers the opportunity to explore and potentially remedy that injustice, and it goes on and on and on. And then I also point out here all these different things that they use, psychology, sociology, economics, math, geography, history, political science. They do all of this stuff. We go on and let students figure this stuff out. They can do this for school, for credit. Why not, right? We go down to our final body paragraph and our final support for our second claim. The children are great listeners, so we cannot forget that they digest many things about the world when adults think they are not paying attention. Well, this gets into this project-based learning because when adults are talking, children are thinking, hey, how can I fix this? Or what's going on with this? And they have that natural curiosity. So we get into this idea that children can be keen observers, and those observations can be very powerful when they directly impact the future those students see for themselves. With the right teaching and learning environment, students of all age groups can become empowered to make changes in the world that will directly benefit their futures. And then I go into, disparage politicians and business executives a little bit. That's a personal kind of aside, but it's a way of kind of getting those things out. Remember, this is rough, right? This is a pretty rough draft. So you can get those kinds of things out. And as you go down and you sit there and you say to yourself, all right, well, I want to know, I want to talk about this, and I have something to say about politicians and socioeconomic inequality and war and climate change and all these things. All of this stuff doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make it into your paper just because you write it down. Right? By the time you get to the final, you might take a bunch of that stuff out, but to get your thought process going, you need to write it in now. Let yourself go. Make sure that the statements that you're writing down are valid. Make sure that they are things that you're probably going to be able to find evidence for. And if you can't find evidence for them, allow yourself to take them out later. But for this point, put the stuff down. All right? Just don't go too far overboard because, we don't want to, make a bunch of false statements and things like that. That's no good for anybody. So once we've gotten down and we've done our thesis or our main claim, we have our two supporting claims, and we have support for those claims, then we can go down and we can go way back up to the top, way up here. Good. And I can use my cursor and go way back up to the top, and we can deal with the introduction, and we can go all the way back down to the bottom, and we can then deal with the conclusion. And that will be next.